Oh, he said, she said, he said, well, you really real with WandA. Oh, she's a real deal, keeping it really real with WandA. Oh, all inclusion, no confusion. But he said, she said, clearing up the drama with WandA.
Hey, it is me, WandA B, and you are listening to the sounds of my dear Pro Sounds, who made my theme song, Drama with WandA. So I'm WandA. This is He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. We're an iHeart radio station, and we're here every Sunday at 2 p.m. So very happy to have you here. You can listen on Spreaker. You can listen on watch on YouTube if you like, and always intellectualradio.com. And then I'm on Facebook. You can listen on Spreaker. You can watch on YouTube if you like, and always intellectualradio.com. And then I'm on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook and you're watching this, please share the broadcast as well and if you're listening on any of the other platforms, you can also chime in on YouTube, and you can also go to Facebook if you like, or call in 708-223-8953. So thank you very much. I am very excited, happy to have my dear guest with me today. He's from our show Humanity and the Headlines here at Intellectual Radio, none other than the David Seaton.
What's going on, WandA B?
Nothing much. We are excited here today to talk about some of the topics we have going on. We're going to talk about a couple of the hot topics that are in the news. And as always, we're going to be discussing some trending topics that come up in our group, He Said, She Said, that is on Facebook. Look for the Yellow and Black on Facebook and join that group. Today's show is brought to you by Allstate. If you're looking for auto, home, life insurance, please contact Allstate for all your insurance needs. I use them. Tell Sal that I sent you. Give him a call at 708-599-5100. You are going to be in good hands with Allstate. So let's talk about, since I do have my dear Humanity in the Headlines, who is the man on all things politics, Trump, your boy Trump, getting into a feud with LeBron James.
Getting into a feud with everybody.
He
got into it with LeBron James this week. Said that actually when he was on Twitter, he said that LeBron James was interviewed by the dumbest person on TV, referring to Don Lemon on CNN. He said, Don Lemon, then he went on to say, Don Lemon made LeBron James look smart, which is hard to do. And then he ended it with saying, I like Mike, referring to Michael Jordan.
So what is going on? Why did he even decide to pick a fight with LeBron James? Oh, because of his comment. LeBron made a comment on Don Lemon's show.
LeBron James has often referred to Trump as a bum on Twitter. But while they were having the interview, Don Lemon asked LeBron James, hey, would you sit across from the president? Would you have a conversation with him? LeBron James said, hey, I wouldn't, if Trump was here, I would be here. I wouldn't sit across from him. Then he asked him if he would have a conversation with Obama, and obviously he said yes. So I don't know how Trump saw that and got so enraged to make a comment, because according to Trump, CNN is fake news and he never watches it. He only watches Fox. I mean, he said as much, that he doesn't watch CNN and he doesn't watch MSNBC because they're fake news. So I'm confused. Are you watching it? Are you not watching it? If you are watching it, why would you? And then he did that. To put the icing on the cake, he made that statement about LeBron James regarding the conversation he was having with Don Lemon on CNN. And then the following day, he went to do a rally in Ohio. So again, that does, again, just shows that, again, he's very divisive. He's very racially motivated. LeBron James just opened up school in Ohio, where the kids get free tuition, they get free breakfast, they get free lunch, they get snacks, they get free uniforms. He talks about when he was a kid, how he rode a bike to school. So if kids who attend his school live within 2 miles of the school, they get a free bicycle. And then all of the graduates of the school get automatic scholarship for 4 years to the University of, I believe it's the University of Ohio in Akron. So LeBron James is doing this huge thing to put his money where his mouth is, supporting his community where he came from. And I hate to say his community because Michael Jordan said that in his response, but he's supporting the African American community in Akron, in Ohio, where he's from. And, Trump could have taken the high road and said, hey, great job. You're doing something for your community. He could have gotten a double hit in. He could have said, hey, great job, LeBron. More black athletes need to do the same. And then said, don't forget to stand up for the national anthem and support our troops. He could have said something like that. But again, he had to attack Don Lemon and LeBron James. And then Michael Jordan came out later and he tweeted that he supports LeBron James. So again, it kind of made him look bad. I mean, Michael Jordan's response was really tepid and weak and watered down. He could have said something more forceful, but I guess he's got to protect his $1 billion a year,
he doesn't really want to go for Trump, I don't think.
I don't think so.
Trump, though, him being divisive, his response to it is kind of typical. He's so ego driven that if you say anything about him, he's going to attack it. It is not even a political thing. It's just kind of who he is.
Exactly.
And I don't think we expect anything different from him, but I'm interested in his camp. Do you think they advise him or he just goes off the cuff? Like, do they think that, because if you were in his camp right now, you'd say, you know what, the best thing to do is not respond to Don Lemon. They talked about you. You take the high road, give him a speech. You say this and you tell him what to say. So that seems to never actually be what happens. Or do you think it happens and he disregards?
No, I think he's definitely disregarding. He's got a couple of people in his camp that are going to support him, and they have the whole let Trump be Trump mantra. So there are some people in his camp that definitely support his erratic, spontaneous, off the cuff, shoot from the hip style. But I think the majority of the people, they just know at this point that he doesn't take advice. There's no controlling him. He's convinced himself that he's the smartest person in the room on any topic. He's convinced himself. And to some degree, I could understand why he would have some sort of ego about the fact he's convinced himself, hey, I was never in politics, ran and won. So he might, that might be some affirmation for him to come out and even be more forthcoming with that same strategy that he used to win the presidency. Maybe he thinks that that's going to be effective. But all of the polling and all of the data out there is pointing in the other direction. It's pointing to this November being a huge blue wave. The Democrats are definitely poised to take over the House. And that's the chamber of Congress where impeachment proceedings begin. So he's, I think, there's even some writing out there that because he doesn't have a direct competitor against whom he can kind of argue like he did with Hillary Clinton, that he's even hoping that the Democrats win win the House so he can fight against them and whoever their speaker is to get his people all excited to come back and vote in 2020.
That makes sense. Now, it's interesting to me that he tends to, what is with the rallies? It's like he's still campaigning, like he never stopped campaigning.
No, the same week that he won the presidency, they immediately went out and filed all of the paperwork for their re-election campaign in 2020. He did that last year. Or I'm sorry, in 2016 when he won. So, yeah, he's constantly in campaign mode. He's constantly going out. I mean, because if he's sitting at home, as much as he watches television, unless he turns on to Fox, every place else is, lambasting him and criticizing him and telling him that the things that he's doing or saying or implementing are bad policy, bad ideas, whatever. So it's almost, I think, cathartic for him to get in front of a room of people of adoring fans. So, he almost has to do that because, again, he's not sitting at the White House reading briefs and reading papers and sitting in serious meetings. He's not doing any of that. So, for him, I think that's definitely a part of what's helping him make it day to day.
Now, someone is, though, running in Ohio, though, that he went to back. Is that
he went there and did a rally. I mean, that's all of the rallies that he's doing right now. He's going to cities and he's supporting the Republican nominee for whatever congressional seat or senatorial seat that's available that's going to be running this year. And I don't remember the name of the person who he was supporting, but the reason I don't remember the name is because in his rallies, he probably mentions that person for about 2 minutes, but he stands up there for an hour and a half and he just goes down the, greatest hits. They thought I wasn't going to win and they were afraid to call Ohio and I'm the greatest and, blah, blah, blah.
He doesn't probably remember his name. He's like, what's the guy's name I'm here to what? He's great. He's great. He's fabulous.
He supports Trump. That's the only thing. That's the thing that cracks me up too, is how he always refers to himself in the third person. You need to support Trump. Trump is going to blah, 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 blah. Like I've only seen that in television shows. I've never met someone in real life who refers to themselves in the third person.
That is hilarious.
I've never seen that in my whole life. I would not be sitting here saying, you know what David thinks.
What does David think, David?
Wanda wants to know what David thinks.
Wanda wants to know what you guys think on our topics today. So
that's ridiculous.
James Smith says, well, he lies, and while he may be doing what the evangelical religious right conservatives by selecting what support their alleged values are, yet are not their values colored by the lies. Our drinking water and bathroom water come from the same place, yet we would not drink the used commode water to quench our thirst.
That's deep.
Right. Like
that's deep.
That's a David answer. David, you talk on that, whatever.
No, that's real deep. When you're talking about the evangelical religious right conservatives and, again, even his Supreme Court nominee, this guy Kavanaugh, who he's trying to get in. The big fear has been that they're going to try and roll back Roe versus Wade. They're going to take away the woman's right to choose. So whatever your thoughts are on abortion, when I read Roe versus Wade never came out and said, hey, women, you can go out and have all the abortions that you want. That's not what that law said. Roe versus Wade simply said that the federal government does not have the power to tell a woman what to do with her body. That's all it said.
I'm pro that.
Right. So again, whatever your thoughts are on abortion, even as whether they're and if you have religious, feelings towards abortion, I can't align I'm careful to align myself with the same ideology on abortion or on a lot of the things, gay marriage or whatever, when this same religious end of the spectrum, they use this same book to justify the horrors that they've committed against Black people. The slavery, Jim Crow, just believing that people of color are second-class citizens, even our foreign, how we deal with other countries. We're not at war. If you notice, we haven't been at war in the last, really 50 years. I would even go so far as 75 years. You have to go all the way back to World War II. But every war this country has been in since World War II. We've never fought a white country or a country with a lot of white people in it. We fought Asian countries. We fought Middle Eastern countries. And it's generally either out of ideology or because we wanted to take whatever resources they had in that land, be, oil or whatever. So, and I have to, as a Christian, as someone who believes in God, I still have to make that distinction in how I practice my faith. I can't just align myself with someone just because they say God, because a lot of atrocities throughout human history have been committed under the
same God.
I was praying last night and God told me blah blah blah. No, that's
so true. And I do believe that if you have the right, you still have the right. I mean, this isn't taking away your right to have one or to not have one. It's just saying that the government doesn't get involved in that decision.
Right. It says that the states get to make their own individual laws. But even the fear right now is that even if Kavanaugh gets appointed to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court doesn't overturn Roe versus Wade, because they know how he leans and the vote on the Supreme Court is going to be 5-4, you're going to have a lot of red states like Mississippi, Arkansas, Georgia, Alabama, Texas, those kinds of states, that they're just going to make their abortion laws so draconian and so onerous that it's not going to matter, because they're going to feel like, hey, if it goes to the Supreme Court, they're going to rule in our favor anyway. So the Supreme Court, just by the appointment of Kavanaugh, will cause this ripple effect throughout our political bodies and through our body politic, just by his appointment, and they don't even have to make a statement on Roe versus Wade. So it's really pernicious, it's really dangerous. And again, whatever your thoughts are on abortion, I think we all should agree that the federal government or the government in general should not be able to tell you, if I want to go get a heart transplant, the government shouldn't be able to tell me, well, you can't go get David, you can't go get that heart transplant. Why? Because I said so. What do you know? That's supposedly we are in that land of the free and home of the brave. So again, that's another contradiction. We can't have freedom, but then have governments telling a specific group of people what they can and cannot do
Totally makes
with their
sense.
bodies.
Totally makes sense. You guys, thank you so much who are tuning in on Facebook. I appreciate you. Salim, yes, please. Like I said, you guys, if you need insurance, you're in good hands with Allstate. Thank you, Salim, for tuning in. Hey, Nemia, my dear co-hosts who are out there, also known as N. Dot. Thank you for chiming in. Okay, we're going to be talking about your topic very shortly. The question that you posed, and he said, she said, I will be revealing it shortly. Waiting for our dear guest Elaine
Is that
to
the
show
question?
up.
I think. Is that the question? I think it is.
Yes,
Oh
yes. We were
man.
talking money, but we're going to bring up the one particular conversation that led to 590 comments in the group of discussion over this. So Kara usually turns out to be the one that gets all the conversation. So James Smith says, so when I hear people are said to be strict constructionists, I hear this quote from Justice Roger Taney. Are you still? Oh, in the opinion of the court, the legislation and histories of the times and the language used in the Declaration of Independence show that neither the class of persons who had been imported as slaves nor their descendants, whether they had become don't go away, don't go away, had become, oh goodness, that's long. I can't read all of that. Go to my page on Facebook and read this dear quote from Justice Roger Taney. I can't take it. So go there and read it. Hey, Nemia, the feds have no business in your healthcare choices. Tell them, Nemia. That's from N. Dot, our affectionate N. Dot, our socialite. James Smith said, blacks are not second-class citizens. According to the Constitution, we are inferior human beings, period, and not meant for citizenship. Hey, Joe Evans, thank you for tuning in. So, guys, we're going to be talking about money. Let's finish up with our dear Trump and LeBron.
Right.
And how this all will turn out. I'm sure LeBron will go on being LeBron. This doesn't really affect his life, or do you think it will have any effect? And Michael Jordan, why did you think Michael Jordan even needed to chime in at all?
Well, he needed to chime in. I mean, he should have chimed in because, again, Trump's tweet ended with him saying, I like Mike. So that was his way of trying to pit Mike and
against
LeBron.
LeBron.
Exactly. And then Mike came out with his little statement. Oh, I support LeBron James and what he's doing in his community. And even when I read that, a lot of people were saying that his response was really tepid and it was weak. But I didn't even like his choice of the word when he said LeBron James is doing, making a contribution to his community. That's our community. Just because geographically it's in Ohio, I don't know where, Jordan, I mean, again, it's one of those things, Michael Jordan is reported that he does a lot of philanthropic work, but he does it, he doesn't try to get all the attention in the media and the like. He just donated $7 million to a hospital in Charlotte.
Did he?
Right. Yeah, he did because, he owns the team out there in Charlotte. So again, the bottom line is I would love to see, and I guess in the larger sense, I would love to see more rich, wealthy African Americans sow seeds back into our communities. If we're good enough to pay tickets to come see you put a ball in a hoop, if we're good enough to spend money to watch you run up and down a field with a ball, if we're good enough to buy tickets to come listen to you sing and rap, and you've made hundreds of millions, in some cases billions of dollars, you do have a responsibility to invest back into the people who helped you create your wealth. If for no other reason, just the selfish reason of, if you do that, then those people are going to continue to support you. And every other community on planet Earth does that. Every other community. I met a guy that was from Greece. He was here for 6 months, and he already had a family restaurant. When you go to little family restaurants, Omega or those little family, those are usually owned by Greeks. This guy that I met, he had been here for 6 months, and he had a family restaurant in Oak Brook. He didn't do that by himself. He had a network of people that were supporting him and that were helping him so that he could become successful. And that's just one example, but every other community seems to do that with the exception of us. For some reason we feel like when we get to whatever level that we're cut off from all of the people who supported us on our way up. And LeBron James, really proud of him. I'll just say for the record finally on this topic that as far there's a lot of conversations all the time about who's the GOAT. Is it Michael Jordan or is it LeBron James? As far as I'm concerned, LeBron James and what he's doing for his community, for what he's doing as a function of his humanitarian, philanthropic beliefs, he's the GOAT.
Now, when you just said his community, is that any different than what Mike said?
No, and when I guess when I'm saying his community, I'm meaning specifically what he did for Akron. What he specifically did for that community in Akron, Ohio.
Could that be what Michael means?
It could have been. It could have been, but because his statement was put out by a publicist, he didn't come out and say it off the cuff and then say, "Oh wait, I misspoke. I meant no." He wrote it down and then he gave it to his publicist and then his publicist put it on Twitter. So it went through a couple of filters. Someone
so
could have said
calculated.
to him, right? Someone could have said to him, "Hey, Mike, man, maybe we should change this word from his to our." But it. So again, maybe it's semantics. I'll give Michael Jordan the benefit of the doubt. But when I read it, that was the thing that leapt out to me.
So Dot said, LeBron will be LeBron, but what's important is the bigotry this president consistently displays. He's the reason white folks have lost common sense, always calling the cops on us and running up. She also said, facts. The only good thing of 45 is that our community is rallying with each other. And now celebs are seeing the importance of them taking care of our own how we can.
That's exactly right. I mean, just him attacking the NFL, which big surprise just so happens to be 80% of the players are African American. And he's, using that issue as far as the kneeling or for the flag or for the national anthem. Again, you would think that he has more important things to do, and even the story over kneeling or putting your hand over your heart during the time that the national anthem is being played, and African Americans or the people who support the players' right to do that, they've even lost their focus, saying, "Well, it's not about the national anthem, it's not about the song." Well, let me just tell you, for all of those who are listening, please, if you don't just share the show, definitely share the show, but definitely pay attention to this. In the third verse, there's a stanza in the national anthem that says, "No refuge could save the hireling or slave from the terror of night and the gloom of the grave."
That's where now?
That's a stanza in the third verse of the national anthem.
I don't even know all the verses of the national anthem. I'm going to be honest.
But
Never got past the first one. So that's the third. Really?
That's in the third verse. There's that's a blatant reference to the endorsement of slavery. Imagine singing that.
And imagine they're going to force us to sing it.
Right. And no refuge could save the hireling or slave from the terror of flight and the gloom of the grave.
Wow.
That's in our national anthem. So guess what? We are well within our rights as African Americans to say this song should not be our national anthem. We need to pick another song, or if we're going to keep that song, we need to repudiate as a nation the words in that third verse. But to your point, most people have never even read the third verse.
I've never sung it, never read it, never seen it, never heard it. And they're probably making sure that we don't get past brave. Like, yay. Have us clapping and two more verses down.
And they're like, cut the third verse. Don't do the third verse.
Do that big high note now. Don't get to that part. But we tell them we're going to run them into the grave. I'm never standing and singing for that song ever again. If I knew that alone, if I really knew that fact, you never hear me even move my lips and fake it
at all. But again, that goes to, that just goes to a larger point, talking about this whole thing. We try to separate ourselves and our community by, socioeconomics or by where you live or light skin, dark skin. And there are too many issues out here that affect African Americans as a monolith, as a group. And we need to, as soon as we can figure that out, I think that will that'll bring on some solidarity in our community so we can really get some things addressed.
So Daryl Wallace said, we judge everything that Jordan says or does. My question is, what are we as individuals doing to help our people? If we simply showed respect for one another, that would go a long way in improving our situation. James said, as a veteran of both Iraq and Afghanistan, I have a hard time standing. You must. And I said, yes, celebrities are boycotting 2K, whatever the football game is called, are now taking money and donating it to Colin Kaepernick's foundation.
Right, she's talking about a video game.
They're boycotting 2K as a video game.
Right, 2K is a video game, and I only know this because I read the story because I don't play video games at all. But they I guess it's the James Madden. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the James Madden football game that's either on.
And they're boycotting it.
Well, they're boycotting it because when they came out with the latest version of the game, they didn't have Colin Kaepernick was not one of the players that you could choose on the video game.
That's wrong.
I believe that's the story. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe she's referring to when she says 2K, she's talking about that Xbox video game.
She did say whatever the football game is called.
Yeah.
So, okay, now my son won't be able to play that. Thank you for telling me. He will be boycotting that game. Even though nobody will know I'm doing that in my house, but that is now going to be my stance. I didn't know that. So, wait, she said, yep, that's it. Okay. Thank you, Dot.
Okay. I knew I read that story, so.
So we are going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we will be talking about money. And should you ask for money when you're dating someone? And we're going to talk about the big brouhaha we had. And he says, she said on Facebook with the post by O'Kara. I'll be reading it to you after these messages.
What's going on, everybody? This is your girlfriend, your buddy, your pal, Latonia of Industry Buzz with 3Zs.com, coming to give a personal invitation to my intellectual radio family. Join us at this year's 8th annual Buzzing Off Awards, celebrating our community leaders. It is going down Saturday, September the 8th. Saturday, September the 8th. Get your tickets today, right now on BuzzingOffAwards.com. That's www.BuzzingOff Awards.com. See you there.
Oh, he said, she said, they said, we said, well, you really real with WandA. Oh, she's a real deal, keeping it real.
Hey, it's me, WandA B, and we are back. I really do hope to see you there at the Buzzing Off Awards September 8th. I'm going to be hosting the red carpet, so I get to say, now who are you wearing? And watch, it'll be like rainbow. So hopefully, no, it won't be. It's a black tie affair, so I'm really excited. They're going to be honoring some of Chicago's finest that are community leaders. And last year, we were very honored to have our own Earl Winfrey honored at the Buzzing Off Awards with 3Zs. And so this year, well, let's see who the honorees will be. So I'm really excited. That's September 8th. And if you want tickets, you can contact me. I can help you get tickets, or you can go to buzzingoffawards.com and get them. And that's buzzing with 3Zs. And if you're looking for auto, home, or life insurance, please contact Allstate for all your insurance needs. I use them. I go to Salim Elmosa. I love him. He takes care of me every time. And I need you to tell Sal I sent you. You can call at 708-599-5100. And you are in good hands with Allstate. So today we are talking money and relationships. Should you give or loan money when you're dating? Does it matter if it's a man asking a woman for the money? Does it matter if it's a woman asking the man for the money? Does it make a difference? So here's what started off this great discussion on Facebook in the He Said, She Said group, which I love for you to join. I would love for you to join that group. Look for the yellow and black and join the group. We talk about these same discussions we're having today. We talk about on Facebook all the time. So here it goes. Long story short, a woman with 3 kids asked a guy she was dating for $20 so her kids can go on a field trip. So I think I'm going to need my glasses for the rest of this because it looks like the letters are getting smaller, or it's just me. It may just be me. It probably is me. I'm going to try to pump up the size of this. That's not going to happen. Okay. So, No, I can read. I just need the glasses. So, dating for $20 so her kids can go on a field trip that she was told about at the last minute. He said, "You have two kids' fathers to ask for the money," and said no. She wasn't too happy about it and basically was done with him. He happily obliged and basically said, "I'm not the one you need to be mad at. Out of three parents, y'all can't come up with $20 with, then your kids don't need to go." So according to him, they had never had sex. They'd only been on dates. So should he have given her the money? Should she have even asked for the money? Was the question posed to the group. So when I posed this question to you, what was your response?
My response was, I can't wait. I could just imagine all the trifling women's responses about that trifling woman in the example. That was basically my response. You trifling.
I said, I want you to repeat that tomorrow. So here we are today with this topic. Deb Harris. Hi, Deb. You got to come on the show. Thank you. Joe Evans said, don't mention WandA. Flow with the money and dating. Go. Hello, you guys. Hello, Joe. So we're talking money and dating, and I just read the conversation that happened where a woman asks a guy she's dating for $20 for her children's field trip that she found out last minute about it. And the children have two different fathers, and he felt like between all your baby's fathers, you can't come up with $20. Don't ask me. So this really turned into a brouhaha and 590 comments later. Elaine, what do you think on this topic?
My opinion on the topic is, I mean, you guys are really no stranger to my personal opinions about this matter.
Everybody else is, so please share. They don't know. David doesn't know either. He's not in He Said, She Said.
Okay.
And my dear viewers may not be in He Said, She Said. And for our IntellectualRadio.com, YouTube, Spreaker, and all the other people who view it, please share your views.
I kind of have mixed feelings about it, and the first reason I have mixed feelings about it is because it's just $20. What $20 is not going to make or break you. I've donated $20 to people I didn't even know before just because they needed it. So I don't think the amount was that big of a deal, but from his perspective, I can see how he may not have wanted to get her started in that role of asking for money. But then on the flip side, if this is somebody who he was genuinely interested in, I think he would have done it. So I feel like he just wasn't really interested in her to begin with. And I mean, we all see men complaining all the time about how women act like they don't need a man. But then when we need you, we get told to get lost. So I think that perpetuates that standard as to why we don't ask and why we just do everything by ourselves. And I feel like that attitude that he gave her created the independent woman. Why ask him if all he's going to do is get mad and pout versus doing what I asked?
So what do you think to that? Because
your opening statement was perfect. $20 is not going to make or break you. So how is it, if $20 is not going to make or break you, how is it that three adults can't come up with $20? The parents, the woman and her two, because in the example, she's got two kids. So she's got two men in her life that are fathers of the children and herself. And then she's got this other guy that she's dating. If $20 ain't gonna make or break anything, I don't understand how three adults, or at least two of the adults, couldn't come up with $10 each.
So did anywhere in that post say that she was in contact with the kids' fathers, or does it just say that she has two kids' fathers?
It didn't say she asked them. He said she should ask them.
Yeah, so we don't even know if they're alive. We don't know if they're in the picture. We don't know if she has any contact with them.
Okay, you going deeper than the setup.
I'm just saying.
Now again, to your point, let's make a distinction. Certainly, if you're dating somebody and they ask, in a situation like that, again, if to the women out there, if you got a situation like that, like, don't even tell. Just ask. Just tell the dude you need $20.
Don't tell him why.
You ain't gonna tell him all that because if you tell him all that, that would be the way that I think. And I'm a very generous person with the people that are within my social circle. So to your point, yeah, $20 not a big deal, but That, if somebody came and asked me for $20 and then told me what it was for, if I disagree with what they're about to use my $20 for, I may or may not give it to them based on, and it wouldn't be a function of the money. It would be a function of the principle of why you're asking me for it. You come up and tell me I need $20 because I need to go buy some drugs. I need can loan me $20 so I can go put some gas in my car so I can go rob this bank. I mean,
So you're saying he has a right to say no if you tell him what his money would be used for. If he isn't for that, then he has every right to say no.
Exactly.
Which is true. I do think saying what the money is used for, she may have actually thought that may soften him to giving it to her. Don't you think if you say this is for my children's field trip?
I'm sure. But you made another great point. You don't want to start that pattern.
Mm-hmm.
If I give you $20 this time, he
doesn't like her.
That's the bottom line.
Not at all.
I do think if he liked her, he didn't see her because she probably had kids. I do think some men who bring up those issues, like you had two babies' father, never liked her because she had two babies' fathers in the beginning. Like
she's damaged goods, is what they call it.
No,
and she's
you don't think so?
Of the $20.
No, I disagree. I know plenty of men and women. The older you get, the less likely it is that you're going to find someone who doesn't have any children.
Hello, Elaine.
Hi.
Correct.
How many children do you have, Elaine?
0, Miss Wanda.
How old are you? Don't give me your exact age, but you're
over 35.
Over 35.
Okay. So again, now to your point, I do have some female friends and I do have some male friends, as I'm 44. So I do have some male friends and I do have some female friends that I've known all my life who are not parents, but they're in the minority.
True.
Typically, the older,
I don't know if that's true. I don't know how many do or not, but that seems like that could be.
They're the minority. They're the minority. But my point is that as you get older, the likelihood that you're going to meet someone who doesn't have any kids gets smaller.
But then you still dating your gene pool in. That doesn't mean you stop looking for that person. Stop having sex then with the women or they never had sex. Did you say
right?
That?
You said in the example. The example says they weren't having sex. They were just dating. But no, my point is that because you were saying he had an issue, or his real issue was she was damaged goods. She was already a parent.
I do believe that.
I don't. Again, in my experience, and again, this is anecdotal, obviously, but in my experience, the majority of men or women who I know, they know pretty much. You know, when you go meet somebody, the first thing they say is, how many kids you have.
Right.
I have that happen to me all the time. I have one daughter, so I have people say, one? You only got one? And I'm sure you hear that from dudes. You ain't got no kids. What you mean?
What's wrong with you?
Right.
I hear that from the guys, and then, well, how many abortions have you had? From the girls.
Dang.
I'm like,
wow.
That's assumed that if you don't have any kids by
flag on the play.
Right.
Flag on the play.
Like, oh my goodness.
Don't ask a woman how many abortions she's had.
Most
just
of my
because
friends
she doesn't
don't have
any
children.
kids.
And they're over or 35ish. Dot is she doesn't have children. So I tend to be around my best friend I'm not saying her age, but she doesn't have children, never had. So I am around quite a few and they are single. So it seems like, yes, your pool may be lighter, but if that's what you're looking for, you should go for you. But I do think men are okay dating them, but not marrying them or having a relationship with them. They're okay dating a woman with children, but wouldn't marry them.
Again, I know plenty of women who have multiple children,
are marrying them with multiple baby daddies. So
that's the standard.
Then my next question
almost
is
like a prerequisite.
Does he never want to be asked for money for those children? Then he never wants to be a part of those children's lives. He won't ever intend to give $20 for the children.
If you're talking about two people and they're getting married, that's something different. I mean, the example that you had was these two people were dating and they weren't having sex. So they obviously, I would infer from that they were, this was something new, that they just started dating and they haven't become sexually intimate yet. And for her to ask for $20. If she can't afford this kind of goes back. It reminded me of the conversation that we had that you had last week, talking about who should pay for the date and all that stuff. I mean, if she can't come up with $20 to send her kid on a field trip at school, then we already know he's paying for all the dates. He's picking her up.
That doesn't necessarily mean that.
Yeah,
I do have children. I've never asked a man to pay for a field trip. They do. And they have a loving father who would, if I didn't have it, I would go to him before I would anybody I'm dating. But at the same time, a lot of field trips want cash. I may not have cash. That morning, when my children at the last minute ask me, I have a debit card and I go, I don't carry cash like that for you to ask me for $20 cash. Now I would just go to the gas station. So I wouldn't go asking a man for it. I wouldn't, especially a man but it's going to sound bad if I say that I wasn't having sex with, right? I mean, but does that make a difference?
Yeah, to women, it makes a difference because they feel like if you having sex, it's okay for you to barter for money. Give me $20.
Guys feel that way too. If I take you out, I'm expecting to have sex after dinner.
You're absolutely right, Miss Wanda.
There's no dude in 2018 there's no healthy, well-adjusted man who's thinking that just because he paid for some dinner that you're supposed to get on your back. If you're dealing with a cat like that, then you need to reevaluate.
I think there are tons well-adjusted, but they really do believe that if I just spent $200 on this meal, now they know they may not get it, but they're kind of hoping they get some.
Well,
I've had several male fans tell me that they know that if they take a woman out on 3 consecutive dates and they pay for it, by that third date, they can have sex.
They've said that in our group.
They're expecting that by the third date.
They
may even cut you off.
Okay, she just said something different. You said first date. She said third date.
They would prefer first date. It saves them a lot of money.
Exactly.
But they give it to 3.
Well, preference.
Cutoff.
That's the cutoff.
But again, now we're introducing another dynamic.
It's the same dynamic reversed to me.
No, I'm saying the dynamic in that situation is if you're a woman who wants to be treated equally and you don't want to be subjected, you don't want to be subjected to a man trying to make you barter with sex, then
But I'm not going Dutch.
Exactly. Women ain't doing that. They ain't going for that.
I'm not going Dutch.
Exactly.
But I'm okay with us not going out. I'm not ever going Dutch on the first date, and that's my daddy's fault. Blame it on my dad.
No, I'm not even saying whether it's good or bad. I'm saying that you can't complain about being subjected to a dynamic, but then you don't want to. I'm
not complaining.
I think it's normal
for guys to think that. I'm just saying, I'm not mad for them feeling like, because I have a choice to go out with you or not based on your feeling. I'm not mad that they think they should have sex. In fact, that's why I'm probably not going to go out with you if I don't like you. I don't even want to bring that into people I'm not feeling. No, I don't even need to go out on a date with you. I'm not feeling you.
I don't like the whole idea of grouping. Every woman didn't protest for the whole equal rights thing and all of that other stuff. I didn't protest for that.
You guys want to be equal is always thrown in there.
And then it was equal in the workplace for equal pay for the same job. Nobody said anything about paying for dates. And then if that's the case, then if you have a problem with the whole equal rights thing and you don't want to pay for the date, you want to go Dutch, and then you want to go half on a rent. Like, when does it end? Like, when do you step up and take control or be the leader or the head of that relationship?
See, again,
it's just a slippery slope.
So I would say
they sit on the fence.
I would say in response to what you just said that you are evaluating a man strictly through the prism of his ability to provide. And now that might be if that's how you view, if that's how you evaluate your man as a function of his ability to provide, that's fine. But on the other end of that, you might find yourself being evaluated through a prism that you would not care for because you're setting up that type of dynamic.
Exactly. What is that? What is
that prism? What does that look like for you?
I mean, it depends on the man. It might,
be said for you to speak on behalf.
We're not talking about me.
No, I'm not asking you to tell from David.
Because I'm a married man, so I'm not. What?
This is he said, she said. So I bring the guys on here, not to speak from their own, but to speak on behalf, to give us the male perspective. So we're not caring what David Seaton would do.
Okay.
What we would like to hear how you think men actually perceive this, because we only know our end of it and what we see. So we brought you here to give us the male perspective.
Okay. All right. I'm thank you for making that distinction for me. I don't want anybody thinking that this is but again,
they almost made me spit my word out.
But again, you both of you just said a moment ago, okay, man spends, takes you out on 3 dates and now he expects you to get on your back. Do you like that? Do you like that a man might perceive you like that? Like, hey, I didn't took you out on 3 dinners. Now it's time for you to give up the booty. Is that cool?
I think the consequences behind giving up the booty makes it an unreasonable request. So because you bought me 3 dinners, now I have to put myself at risk of an unwanted pregnancy and incurable diseases. I think the stakes are really high with that request.
Okay.
So to me, it's an unrealistic request.
Okay. So again, and that's a thoughtful response or answer to that question. So you can't have it both ways is what I'm saying. That's what a lot of men are saying. You can't, if you can't tell me what a man is supposed to do, I'm supposed to take care of all the bills. I'm supposed to be the provider. I'm supposed to always be the one reaching in my wallet when it's time to go eat. But then when I come to you and say, okay, because I'm doing this, these are my expectations. Well, I don't want to get pregnant or get no disease. And, the pastor told me that we're supposed to get married before I do all, so you can't have it both ways.
So then my question is, if that's the case, then why don't I pick up the 4th date? Why do I have to repay you with sex? Why can't I repay you with picking up the 4th date?
Because keeping it 100, like you just said a moment ago, and again, I'm only repeating what you said. One of your responses to the original scenario was, no, I'm not giving you $20 because I don't want to set up a pattern of behavior. If we've gone on 3 dates and I paid for all 3 of them, there's no expectation that you're going to reach in your wallet on date number 4, because you just said a moment ago, I ain't going Dutch on date number 1.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
That still stands.
Okay. So I'm saying if that's your hard line, you could go on 4 dates in a week.
But you're shaking your head for a super producer.
You ain't going.
What you shaking your? Because I know what you think. Let's hear it. No, don't bring you in there.
That's super producer Earl Winfrey off camera.
Shaking his head at this conversation. I just don't know which angle what the head shake is about.
I know what the head shaking is about. But
I don't know. I don't know if you do.
But again, no.
Giving it for whatever date he's spending it on. I said, I think you would say if you spending the money, you after 3rd date, there's no if you haven't got something after the 3rd date.
But again, you're shaking. And again, everybody. I guess at the end of the day, here's and I've heard you say this before. You find the dynamic that works for you. If you're the type of woman that says, I don't want to have sex until marriage, and I'm not spending any of my money when I go out on dates, and I'm not having sex until I get married, there's a cat out there who will accommodate all of that.
And who said that? No. Or is this just a generality?
No, this is me. This is generality. I'm saying there's somebody out there who will accommodate you wherever you are. You just have to find them. And ultimately, for women and or men who are single and they want to date or be in a relationship, you have to decide how flexible or how rigid you're going to be about how you behave and how that's helping you find the person that you're looking for.
So someone put in the group, different women bring out different results in a man. Do you think that makes a difference? That if he really liked her, he would have given her $20?
He would have given her $50 if he really liked her.
He just wasn't that
wouldn't
into
have
her.
asked for change.
Again, I think it's naive. And I think it's painting with a broad brush to simply say that the act of a man giving a woman money is simply a function of how much he's into her. That might be true, but the scenario that was set up was very specific. If this scenario was a woman and a man are dating, they're not having sex, she borrows $20 from him and he said, go ask your baby daddy, that would be one thing. But the scenario was very specific. It was her kid is going on a field trip. the baby daddy either wasn't there, didn't have it, wouldn't give it. She didn't have it, and she asking him for $20. And he's thinking to himself, "Hey, I like you and everything, but why am I giving you $20 for a kid that's not mine? And you got two baby daddies. Y'all couldn't come up with $20 between three grown folks. Why am I subsidizing three grown people who can't take care of a kid going on a field trip? He can't go if he waiting on me to did the $20."
I think they did the right thing with going their own separate ways.
Yes.
It just would have been weird after that.
Right.
Only because her expectation was only because of her expectation. It wasn't weird. He was honest. A lot of the way this scenario was set up, she asked him a question. He was honest. So now she knows where he is. Women complain all the time that men aren't honest. He was honest with her. Now, because he didn't rise up to her expectation in that scenario, doesn't mean that the relationship would not have worked. It just would have meant that they would have had to modify their.
It wouldn't have worked after that.
Because right there, that she believes she had expectation. Her response. It wouldn't have worked because it doesnn't sound like he really likes her. It just doesn't. Really doesn't. You got this baby daddy. You don't talk to somebody you like that. Business. You had two baby daddies. You can't come up with them. That's not a really good way to even talk to her.
Say no.
Wait.
No, I don't have it either.
I don't have it either. Between two baby daddies, you can't come up.
Now it's
who wants to be in a relationship with somebody who even talks to you like that? That's not a very kind way to talk.
Are you all serious?
I think it wasn't kind.
And women are very sensitive when it comes to their kids.
It really is.
So he like, well, you got all these baby daddies. Y'all can't come up with three adults. Y'all can't even.
He could have just been like, no, I don't have it.
Both
and left it at that. That would have been salvageable.
Okay, but when I said a moment ago, she didn't have to say, "Hey, I needed $20 for my."
That's true.
I agree with that.
I said she could have just said, "Hey, I need $20."
I agree with you.
Y'all, you are a couple. I'm gonna have to go rewind the show because I felt attacked when I said that.
The comment said he looks nervous.
I felt attacked from both sides when I said
to you
that.
directly. This is not David.
I agree with
that. This is David is the only man here. And the voice of the male species, and women just kind of, I don't know why we always make them feel attacked no matter how we talk. Even when that's not our intention. That's not our intention to attack.
Just so everyone knows, I am not nervous.
He said you're nervous.
I can handle this right here.
and this is not a David Seaton. This is because you're the voice of men, and so we're responding to it.
Exactly.
So Daryl said he feels like that was prostitution or something like that. I missed that. He said he probably picked up on her needing money ways and decided to move on. His posture was belittling of the man in the story. I was like, no, David's posture wasn't. Okay, I know what you're. And I can't see the rest of the comments, so I know you guys had some good ones. What was Earl Winfrey's comment? Our super producer who ran out the room.
He said, "I would give her the $20, no big deal, but I think it's just a test because next week I swear it's going to be something else. Then when all of a sudden I'm always super busy."
They did the right thing.
They did the right thing for both. It does kind of seem like if you're just dating somebody, he's not the one you go to help with your kids. You're not at that phase, to me, in your relationship.
Exactly.
To ask for money. Asking for money means we go together phase. I mean, now you ask for money, but in the we haven't slept, not the sleeping together. I hate saying that because it sounds like sleeping together means that you now have to pay.
No, it just means it just means that your relationship has reached a different level of intimacy.
And with that intimacy comes being able to ask for more things. But I don't think it comes down to you got two baby daddies. That's just not cool to talk to her that way, I don't think. And it's true. It may be
the guy
that you can't come with $5 from you, and $2.50 from you, and I know the math not right on that, but at the end of that conversation between you all, that you can't come up with the money. It's a true fact, but that's not the most pleasant way to talk.
All I'm saying is that if you are an adult with children, male or female, and your kid comes to you at the last minute and says, hey mom, or hey dad, I need $20 for to go on this field trip. It's today, I forgot to tell you, and you're about to take your kid to school. You have a choice in that situation. You can like, old school parents would
You're
just
not going.
Right.
You tell me last minute I don't have cash.
Exactly.
That means you don't get to go on this field trip. You'll learn to tell me the day before.
Exactly.
I'm not rushing to the gas station for you.
Exactly.
And you woke up late for school. Had you got up early where I had time to go to the... For me, that would be how I would deal with it.
Now, let's take this.
It wouldn't be someone else's problem.
It wouldn't be someone else's problem. Now, let's take this because you ladies went a little deep on the man about he must not like her and blah,
but
blah, blah, blah.
He doesn't like her.
Okay, wait.
He doesn't.
Wait. What does
That's
this...
okay.
Wait a minute. What does it say about the woman who her child comes to her at the last minute saying that, hey, mom, I got this field trip. I need $20, blah, blah, blah. And the mother doesn't say to her child, like you and I just said, hey, you waited to the last minute. I don't know what to tell you. For her to instead of it taking that opportunity to teach her kids something, she gonna go to a dude she just been dating and ask him, hey, I need $20 because my son forgot to tell me that he might have been, that might not have been an issue of him not liking her. That might have been an issue of his antennas going up and saying, I don't think I like the way you're parenting. You just said if your kid came to you at the last minute, I would do the same thing. If my kid came to me 5 minutes before I'm about to drop you off at school talking about, oh, I need $20. And the first thing I think is, oh, let me call my girl WandA. We've been out on a couple of dates. Maybe she'll loan me $20. WandA, my daughter forgot to tell me about this field trip. Can you loan me $20?
I wouldn't even ask a girlfriend. I mean, personally, it just wouldn't come to that for me. But so let's say that he's thinking, you know what, that you wouldn't teach your children that, but that's not what he said. He didn't say, I don't like your parenting styles. Why didn't he say, you know what, why would you let your children go? He could have said, this is a good time to not.
I could just imagine what the women would say if the scenario was set up and the dude was like, you know, if that was my kid, I'd tell him he can't go to the.
Now, I'm sorry, but men do say those things. As a mom who had a child, not that I'd ever even bring that up. I do feel like my children, my responsibility. There's no man responsible for my children but me. So thank God I never would have to. But it would be a teachable moment for my children because I don't even want them to bother their dad for $20 at the last minute. It's not a me or him thing coming up with it. It's
right.
That it's wrong
Agreed.
to do for you
Agreed.
to wait to the last minute and assume when you get these notes ahead of time that it would be a parenting moment, period.
Agreed. It was a teachable moment.
A teachable moment
Definitely
for my
agreed
child, not an issue for their dad or for me to come up with. But at the same time,
but why wouldn't it be an issue for if it's not an issue for and you're saying for your kid that's a teachable moment? This is not an issue for me or for your dad to come up with this $20 because this is a teachable moment. If you're saying that as a parent talking about you and your kid's father, then I don't understand why it's so crazy that it's like this guy will respond that way. And he
didn't say that. Had he said that, I respect that more. Had he said, you know what, that's not a good, because he'd actually be helping her. Maybe she didn't think that way. Maybe he would actually be helping her instead of belittling her. He may have, if his response was, you know what, you should really tell your children they shouldn't wait to the last moment. I would
don't tell me how to raise my kids. I'll raise my kids any kind of way I want. Now you gonna give me the $20? You know what? Never mind. We ain't got to date anymore.
That's why you got two baby daddies, because you're so ignorant.
That's how that conversation would go.
That's why they should have broke up. They did the right thing. They go two separate ways.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and agree with both of you. Yes, this relationship sounds doomed because three intelligent, disinterested individuals can't even come to a consensus. So yeah, maybe that was bad.
Valencia said, "My honey." Valencia is part of the he said she said team. Hey, Valencia, my honey is agreeing with David. Daryl says, great point. Her parenting skills are kind of suspect, even though he never said that. Thursday, you all just intelligently trying to help dude out, because he said between three baby daddies and y'all can't come up with $20. Why am I supposed to come up with it?
See this is another man-woman thing. The scenario said she had 2 children. And you just said 3, and you said he got a whole bunch of baby daddies.
How many? I don't remember. I know I'm just throwing it out there. I don't remember. I really don't. It's 3 kids. Long story short, a woman with 3 kids asked a guy she was dating for $20.
All right, I apologize for making that. That was my bad memory.
So
yeah, that's even worse. 4 adults can't come up with $20. Yeah, no, what are you talking about? You got 3 kids and 3 baby daddies.
2 fathers. That's where we're.
Oh, okay, that's where it was. Okay,
it's 3 kids.
I knew 2 was
fathers.
In there somewhere.
Yes, it's 3 children.
Listen,
and 2 fathers.
listen.
Maybe it's a set of
Three
in there.
three adults.
One, she had two
Three
children by the
adults.
same guy.
3 adults should be able to come with $20. That's all I'm saying. And the 3 adults who should come up with the $20 are the 3 adults that are the adults who are responsible for that child.
Daryl Wallace says she didn't need him, she needed his money. And obviously he feels that way, and that's why he says this wouldn't work. And it does kind of sound like maybe she does, because if you can't come up with $20 for your children, and I don't think it has anything to do with the fathers, because when the child lives in your home, yes, you should ask the fathers, but at the same time, a lot of times I personally don't like my children to keep calling their dad. He pays child support and he's a very good father. I don't have him on child support. He just gives us money. He take care of he's an excellent dad. I mean, I'd have to put that out there. But so I don't like them bothering him. He still grocery shops for our family and drops the groceries off every Sunday. Wow. He's a good dad. So it's not so for you to go calling him for $20. No, that's going to be on me. That's my kind of thing. But it doesn't sound like that kind of mom either. It just doesn't sound. That's why is she asking him? If you are a single parent with 3 kids, you should have $20 in a cookie jar somewhere. I don't always have cash on me. You should have access to $20 at all times. If you're with 3 children, I'm not a single parent, but can I get $10 to put in my? You better go ask. Box? You better go ask your baby daddy and them. But we ain't even dating now. We just cool. We friends, David. I would sooner. Now I'm glad you said that though. I would sooner give the friend than to a chick that I'm dating that we not even sleeping together. See, why it's okay for you to say y'all not even sleeping together, but if a woman asks is prostitution and she acting like a prostitute, but if you say we not even sleeping together, that's why you're not getting money. It's okay. I said earlier that I only make that distinction. For me, I'm making that distinction referring to the intimacy that the level of intimacy the relationship has reached. Daryl said we don't know the man's tone. So let me read this in what nicer tone could it be that... Can I give it a nice tone? Let me hear your nice tone. Go ahead. Hear it. I know. I see it real quick because I want to make sure. Because it is kind of small. No, I got it. No, I see it. Okay. She didn't take it off. I'm sorry. Okay, I'll just say it from memory. She wasn't too happy and basically done. He obliged. Okay, let me go back. She told he said you have two fathers to ask for the money, and she said no. So, darling, why are you asking me for $20 to send your kid on a field trip? You got to have 2 babies' fathers. You couldn't ask them for the money? That didn't sound too much better for me. It's one of those things that you just can't. My vocal inflections, men who are out there listening, check me if my vocal inflections, because when Wanda read it, it was all, Well, you can't even come up with between 2 fathers. You could, and my head rolling. Yes, that's exactly. I read it like a woman for a man, but you're nice and polite. But a dude, between 2 fathers, a man who come up with still doesn't. There's no way that you can tactfully say that. Hey, darling, why don't you? He should have just said no. Hey, darling, you got 2 fathers in your life. I think maybe you should hit them up and then if they can't help, if they can't hook it up, then holler at me. Nice comeback, young man. What was the comeback you said? Anthony said those are men who value flesh more than. Daryl Wallace said 3 months from now, 2,000, etc. And that very well could be. Rent. That very well could be. So if he does not want to do that, then he should run. But I do think if he really liked her, he would. I still stand by that. I stand by it too. I still stand by that. I think that if he likes you, he would do it anyway. Women out there, just from a man. I like when he goes into his Barry Whites. I'm just saying that if you're going to ask anyone for some money, let's get real basic. If you walked into a bank and got a loan, the bank is going to ask you, why do you need this money? There are some wrong answers you can put down on your bank application. She was supposed to lie and say it wasn't for the field trip? She wasn't supposed to say anything. It wasn't a loan. It was supposed to be a donation. And so you don't need to screen somebody like that if you don't want the money back. Okay, so all I'm saying is if the brother could just, can a man just, I put it out there real quick. Pull it out there. We already know how you ladies feel. All I'm saying is, if you're going to ask someone for money
and you're going to tell them why you need the money, you are subjecting yourself to the moral standards and the evaluation process of the person who's loaning you the money.
That's fact.
Period.
No matter, that's period. And I've definitely had that.
You and I are
before.
parents. You've had your kids come to you and ask you for money and for something. You say, for what? And then they say blah blah. They give you the answer, and then you make up in your mind as a parent whether or not you're going to give it to them.
That's not worthy of my money.
Exactly.
And my children would get mad and go, "Oh, come on, because you don't like that, and you don't think no,
exactly.
My money isn't going to that."
Exactly.
So he does have every right.
He has a right to do that.
Feel that way,
and that has nothing to do with whether or not he liked her. That has nothing to do with. Okay. All right.
Oh, it does.
Right. I'm gonna go ahead and tap out, brothers. I cannot.
That's a woman thing, though. I don't think that's for a man to try to figure out. Some things that women should use as guides and gauges don't actually involve the man. These are like, we're telling you the behind the thoughts of what we tell our girls. And that has nothing to do with how you operate. And I'm telling you, for a woman.
And I'm telling you that just because a man, because again, you could say that about, you could then expand that to anything. That if a woman goes to a man who she is dating and asks for any amount of money that she knows that he has access to for any reason, that if he has to always say yes, and if he ever says no, that means that he doesn't like her. That's ridiculous.
No, and that's not what we're saying. We're saying that, and James Borshade, if I know I may not quote you correctly, James, but men, so I'm going to paraphrase in my way of paraphrasing something he's told me. One way that a man, because they're not all emotional like us and giving us, one way you can tell if a man likes you is if he invests his money in you, because he's not going to invest money in things he doesn't like.
I would agree. That does not mean that for every scenario, for any amount of money, that if he, again, if you were dating a billionaire and you said, you know what, my kid's college fund didn't come through, I need $20,000 to send them to college. What you mean? Asked a baby dad. You know what? You don't like me. I'm about to get about. That's that's the scenario that you're all putting out there.
I do think he would give her the benefit of the doubt. If he liked her, he may give her the 20 and say, "I'm gonna watch this for next time because I'm kind of feeling her. Let's see where she's going." He don't know if she would have kept asking for more, and maybe he would have given her if he liked her.
Well,
right.
The young lady to my right said up front, you don't want to set a pattern. You don't want to set a precedent.
Mm-hmm. He shut it down from the beginning. Don't ask me for nothing
because I ain't feeling you like that, and I'm not gonna be giving you the money.
Nothing. I ain't hit yet.
See how both of you keep adding to the story.
So what wound up happening is that other people. Wait, let me see. Let me make sure I read this right. Oh, I thought this was to this story, but I think so. The whole conversation did get posted. There's more to their conversation. Oh, and me and my little eyes can't.
Okay, while you're trying to pull it up, Enya just kind of tried to put me on blast.
Go ahead, tell us what my dear N-Dot said.
She said, "David, keep it real. When you were interested in a woman, you did a bit more than when you are not interested in a woman." I think what they are saying is that this juncture in the dating ship, he knew this would be a make or break moment. So she tried to put me out there like I'm that dude. So let me just say for the record, of course you spend more money on someone that you're interested in as opposed to who you're not interested in. Of course. That's not the scenario.
Yes, it is.
No, it is not. The scenario is
it's $20. If you're interested in somebody who asked you for $20, you're going to give it to them.
It's my $20. So if you ask me for $20, I have a right to evaluate what you're asking.
And you're saying it's because it was for the field trips and the mismanagement of bad parenting skills.
He had an issue with that in the scenario.
He didn't say bad parenting skills.
No, but he had an issue with her. Again, you all are, and I guess you do have to kind of infer. You can infer some things from the scenario, but his response in the scenario was, "Why are you asking me when you got two baby daddies? Go ask them."
Now, David, you said...
So he did ask her first. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
He said that she shouldn't have told him what she needed it for.
Cause
but then you said he has a right to ask her to see if he want to give it to her.
No, he does have a right to
So
ask
she
her.
wouldn't have been able to get away with that anyway.
No.
it was a little loose for her.
If she would have gone up to the guy she's dating,
She's 0 for 1.
if any woman you dating a guy and he's gainfully employed and he's a decent dude and he's feeling you, and you go up to a dude and say, "Hey, babe, you got $20?" He'd be like, "Yeah, no problem."
Right.
That's like, but that's not what she did. My baby gonna need to go on the field trip, and
So
I
she
ain't got
made herself
$20.
sound too needy.
Yeah,
So
that's trifling. If you have 3 children and 2 babies' fathers, and you don't have $20 in a cookie jar, that's trifling.
So the rest of the conversation wound up coming out. So she said, "Did you miss the effing part where I said I asked them first, and if me getting it was a problem, why wouldn't I give it back?" He said, "Listen, don't cuss at me. You're cussing at the wrong end. Direct this energy at both fathers. If they and you don't have the money, then the kids don't got to go on the trip, period. It's not the end of the world. There will be plenty more trips in future." She said, "Boy, bye." Then he said,
Like I said earlier,
"I'm a grown man, and if I has kids, I would never let my kid's mother ask another end for $20. Never again. I ain't no boy. You're directing your energy at the wrong man." I'm gonna replace "and" the N word for man. Be mad at those 2 bum ass ends, not me.
exactly. Exactly.
So
Based off his tone, it almost feels like he kind of had her in a certain category of women.
She's the
And she was like damaged goods to him, but he was still going out with her anyway, not with intentions of ever having anything serious, but for sexual purposes. So
and
when
he was
she
working
asked,
his way to those sexual purposes.
So when she asked for the money, he was like, "Oh no, she's becoming a liability and I got to get rid of her." I think he just came in with a preconceived notion that she was just a loser.
And she said, "I ask a favor, something you can get back. Just leave me alone." Clearly, I was wrong. Their dad don't have, so I figured I'd ask you. But it's cool. You're selfish and mean. But what you want?
Well, he is selfish and mean.
He is not selfish and mean.
And I know it's their dad's responsibility. I asked them first. But I'm mainly a single mom. It's cool. I'll get it, because when it comes to my kids, I always make a way. I'll borrow from someone else.
Again,
I will say
that would have told me everything I needed to know. You asked your 2 babies' fathers, they don't have it. You asking me, I bring up the fact, why do you even ask your baby's fathers? You're attacking me personally, calling me selfish and whatever, and your response is, "Don't worry about it. I'll find somebody else to borrow the money from." Again, if you're a grown woman with 3 kids and you don't have $20 on your debit card, a credit card, or 3 5s and 5 singles, or 4 singles and 4 quarters in a cookie jar somewhere, you are trifling.
Some person at the couch.
And David, just to your credit, I will say that is pretty trifling. But that is why that I don't agree with the whole second and third date sex thing. Because what if we do create a baby and I wasn't ready for the baby, and then now you gone, now I'm with the other guy, now I'm the trifling chick without the $20 in the cookie jar. So it's just a slippery slope.
It is.
So you can't say
that
that lifestyle is trifling, but then you endorse the activity
I don't
that comes along with.
I don't endorse the activity. If you remember,
I'm just saying in general.
No, but if you remember very early on, I said, hey, like, again, most dudes, here's something for women to know.
Here we go, Wanda.
No, real talk. Real talk. Women, you will get a man who will not have an attitude about paying for the meal if you just pretend to reach for your wallet. You ain't even, like when I said earlier, I said, if you said, "Let's go Dutch," and both of you were like, absolutely not. But if you said that to the average guy, "Hey, you know what? This is our first date. We're just meeting each other. Let's go Dutch." That most men gonna be like, absolutely not.
Oh, I'm not even offering though.
I probably,
you're missing my point. You're missing my point.
I got your point, but I personally don't think that a woman, if a man asks you out on a date, I don't think a woman should say, "Well, let's go Dutch." You just asked me out on a date. Why would I go Dutch?
If you ask me out on a date and then we get to the bill comes to the table and I don't reach for my wallet, what are you gonna think?
You talking about with the roles reversed?
Yeah. You asked me out on a date. We're not.
I plan
we're
on
I'm not
paying.
asking you out on a date.
No.
I ask someone out. I'm intending, but
paying.
that's why I'm probably not going to ask.
No.
I intend to do it. But
Even if I ask, I would still
now if
expect
we're on
them to
date
pay.
4 or 5 and
So
you're always
okay. So
treating
thank
me,
you.
that's
So thank you.
different.
So thank you. Okay, she answered the question. She said, even if I ask him on the
Oh,
date,
you're not going to pay.
she
even if
expects
you
him to
ask.
pay.
Now,
But
see,
so
I don't do that.
now again, you just contradicted yourself. You just said I asked you on a date, so so you expect me to pay. Listen to that logic. I don't care how we get on a date. If I ask you or you ask me,
You're
you
paying. Yes.
And that's
how you
correct.
feel.
That's how I feel.
Okay.
But the caveat to that is I'll pay when I say I'm paying. But up until that point, don't assume I'm paying just because I
But you're
asked you
assuming
out.
he's paying.
I'm the woman.
Okay.
So-
But again, that
That's
goes.
just how I feel about
And
it.
again, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. Where I think that most, and I think I said this on the show last week online. I think where a lot of, when you're talking about being in a traditional relationship, where a lot of men get frustrated is that women want all the privileges of a contemporary relationship and none of the responsibilities. They want all the privileges of a traditional relationship, but none of the
What are the
responsibilities.
responsibilities of a
I
woman
think
in a
that's
traditional
anybody. I don't think that's gender specific. It's just like men want the title of being the head and the decision maker, but they don't want the responsibilities that goes with it. So I don't think that's gender related.
I don't know.
That's gender neutral because both men and women
I will agree.
Want what works best for them.
Yes. However, generally speaking, like I just said in the scenario, if you and I went out on a date, this is our first date,
Mhm.
and if the bill came, you was like, "Hey, this is our first date. I'll take care of my half." I would say, as a traditional man, absolutely not. I got this. Don't even worry about it. So there are more men out there like that than there are women who are who want to have, or who are ready to accept the responsibilities and the privileges of a traditional relationship.
So I understand that, but why I wouldn't is if I'm not going to test. Oh, okay, I got this just for you to play this game to see if you're going to say, because if you don't, I don't intend to pay. I'm not going to play that game unless I'm ready to pay that half. Now, exactly. I will pay the half if I don't like you like that. If I know I'm not feeling him and there's not going to be a date 2, I may pay the half. I may pay the half because with this not going the way. So now I'm going to take this. You don't have to pay because we're not.
Yeah, I don't want at that. I like we think alike. We speak woman.
Woman, yes.
Because I feel the same way. If I don't like a man and I don't realize that until I'm on the date, then yes, I will pay for the date because I'm getting rid of you after that, and I don't want you feeling like I owe you something. Because you paid for the date.
So what you're saying, and I'm going to try and interpret this for the man. What you're saying is that you're using your power, or your money is your power in that situation. So if you don't like the cat, you're using your power by saying, "Hey, you didn't give me anything because I paid for my own meal, so I don't owe you anything." But if you do like the dude, you're going to give him all the power by letting him pay for the meal.
I intended to let him pay for the meal anyway.
Exactly.
That was my initial.
I know, but I'm talking about what you just said a minute
I'm not trying to take power away from him. I'm trying to not make you feel like I'm using you.
What's the morality?
Me personally, and I'm gonna speak about me personally. If I don't like somebody, I'm not accepting any gifts from you, and that includes
because I don't want to be misleading. But that's not a power move.
I can clear my head.
Exactly
I'll
a power
just pay
move.
for it. It's not a power move. It's a from a moral standpoint. Morally, I'm not going to allow you to pay for my meal if I know I don't like you. I'm not enjoying your company, and I know
I don't plan on
I'm
this
going to leave
forward.
all your next messages on red, or I'm going to block you. That's a horrible way to treat somebody. Like you knew you didn't like me. Like if I paid for somebody's meal and then they stopped responding to my calls after that, I would feel the same.
Every man would be mad about you letting him pay for that meal.
Exactly.
But they won't hold that animosity against you if you said, you know what, I got my half. They're not. I do think there are men who I've experienced this. I just really wouldn't let you
I
pay, and
don't.
it's not a
Yeah.
power move. I'll give you the power. I'll take the power.
If
No,
I
the
pay,
reason
I don't
I'm
like you.
going ahead and allowing him is because I like you, and I do see this going the way I want the relation. I feel if I were to get in a relationship with you, I would like to see it move forward. But I don't know. I just see that different. So for a
Mhm.
man, you guys see that as a power move?
Like I said, I have my in my experience. I know the women in my experience. I know more women who again want all the privileges of a traditional relationship, but none of the responsibility, and therein creates this dynamic where you've got this battle back and forth about male and gender assigned roles.
I have
I don't
no
know.
issue with gender
I'm
assigned
okay with
roles.
gender
I'm
assigned
okay with
roles.
gender assigned roles,
Again,
especially
both of you appear to be.
if you especially if
I
you're
think
going to uphold your part. But I'm not about to pay for dates, go for half, and then I still have to do my gender assigned roles, which usually wind up happening.
Again, that's not my experience. Again, I mean
well, for other males, do you think that's their experience? Name wait 1 second though. Nemia said so. If she said that's a slippery slope. So if he pays, it's okay that you owe him something if you like him. So if he pays, it's
that's
okay
what
that
you
you
are
owe
right.
him
That's what I
something
was
if you
saying that
like
the
him.
two of you were saying. You're saying I like him, so I'm gonna let
That's how
him pay the
men
meal.
think.
No, but she's paraphrasing what both of you said. I like him, so I'm gonna let him pay for the meal, and now I owe him something.
I didn't say I
Yeah,
owe
I
him
still don't owe you
anything.
nothing.
Then
And if I do, it's gonna be me paying
But
for your next meal.
it's not about owing sex or owing this. Is that I do want to continue. I plan on not continuing a relationship with you. I see it moving forward is more. It's not because now I'm okay owing you now. It's more of
A progression.
this is progressing better.
okay.
I don't
And
know.
just
And
like
I
the
may
guy,
see it wrong, but I think that's
I
my
think we on the
father's fault.
same part with
Kimia,
this,
I'm
and it is my
glad you
dad's
feel
fault.
me
It is
where
my dad's
I'm glad
fault.
you
It's
feel
just
me.
like the guy who didn't want to start the relationship with giving her money.
It's
The
the
woman
same
don't want to
concept.
start the relationship with paying for dates if she expects this to be somebody who she wants
It's the
a
same
relationship
concept.
with.
And that's and again, that's fine. However, you have a lot of women out there who espouse what the two of you are espousing, and that's they're saying, I want to be in a traditional relationship. I want the man to open the door. I want the man to pay for the dates. I want the man to be there for me when I need him. Hey, if my kid needs to go on this field trip and I need $20, my expectation is for him to give me this.
No,
No,
don't
no, no,
add
no,
that.
no, 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 no. Let me finish. So I have all these expectations, but now those are all in the privileged side of the traditional relationship. Now let's move into the responsibility. Are you doing the things that this man expects for you to do that
and
that
I
are
am.
still within the confines of that
And
traditional
I am.
relationship?
So for
Not
the
talking about
guy,
you. Not talking about you. You
but let me finish. Well, go ahead.
both of you know that most women today either don't cook
But
or
how
can't
can you
cook.
say that? Most women do cook,
But
and they
I
No,
do
do
they
think
cook
don't.
you put
because
some
they
things.
have kids. They have to cook.
Then
Well,
You
that
can't
is
not cook for a
that is
toddler.
Well,
that is not true. Most women today are not cooking. They going to McDonald's or they going.
and if they are, let me
I don't
explain
think
why.
that's true.
Well, I
It
do
is
believe
exactly
that
true.
some maybe, and if it does, it's not probably cooking like my mother. My mother, God bless her, cooked every single night a different meal from scratch after coming home from work. But we also weren't involved in soccer, camp, this,
Right.
that, picking you up, getting you here, getting you there, 3 different kids, 3 different places. And the competitiveness of our children has changed the dynamics of being able to cook every evening. So it's not.
I'm again.
You're
Don't
absolutely right
don't
about
give
that,
me
Wanda.
don't give me. Okay,
Some
so
5-year-olds have a busier schedule than I do.
The
And
dance,
I'm like, I went
this,
outside and played at 5. I didn't tour the world flipping and
and you
doing
got,
all these
and they
tournaments
have.
and stuff.
okay. All I'm saying is, ladies, all I'm saying is that
He's got the
there are
voice
women
again.
out there who, and again, it doesn't have to be cooking. It could be cooking. It could be washing clothes. It could be just being nurturing woman. You have some, like you said, I think you said something earlier about the women being independent. So you ain't gonna give me the $20. That's not women out here being all independent, saying they don't need a man because when I do need you, you ain't there for me.
Unfortunately,
So,
a consequence.
so again, sometimes just providing what that man needs in a traditional relationship is just being a nurturing, feminine woman. And some women can't do that because, like you said, they walking around with the chip on their shoulder.
If I like you, I will.
No, I didn't. I didn't say that there are women out there who will or won't. I said there are women out there who can't, because they're that independent woman that you were talking about earlier. They've been scarred and beat up.
I wouldn't even say that they can't. They have to be put in the right environment for that.
Okay, I'm telling you.
This question comes up a lot. What is a woman's roles? Because men are feeling like it's very off balance, that women are expecting to. So, but I would like to define that, because I do see that there are a group of women who want these roles, that he has to do this, he has to do this for me, he has to do this, he has to pay, he has to this, but they never explain or show what the man, so the men feel like it's not fair to them. What do they get out of it? And there are a lot of men walking around feeling this way. Yeah. So somehow it's not being defined as to what roles, what should a man expect in return, because it's a lot of, you have to take care of me. I'm the woman. You got to take care of me. Mm-hmm. You got to do this for me. You got to do this for me. You got to do this for me. And they never see or hear what they get in return. So what is that? Women never say, if you do this, I'll do that. They say, this is what you need to do. There are women that speak that way. My man, Daryl Wallace said, flaming hot Cheetos ain't cooking. But see, for me, as a mother, as a role, it's not that I may not cook, but I'm going to be in charge of feeding the family. However, even if I went and got to the ready-made cooked things at the grocery store and got a chicken that's cooked, and I'm going to come home and I'm going to be the one that brings that home.
You know what, Wanda? You made me think of that conversation that was in the group a while ago about the guy who bought his woman that engagement ring, and she didn't think it was expensive enough, or she didn't like it, and all the guys said how ungrateful she was and she should have just taken it. And now, with you bringing up the cooking thing, men want a home cooked meal. They don't want you to go to the drive-thru at KFC, but why can't we say, well, at least I'm feeding you, you ungrateful? But they do that with the ring situation. Because I may not cook, but I'm still going to be the woman in charge. It's the thought behind it. If you're going to go that route with the whole ring thing.
Again, you all are fixating on cooking.
Because that's what I'm reading. Everybody is saying flaming hot Cheetos ain't cooking. Let me say why I'm fixating on cooking. Daryl says flaming hot Cheetos ain't cooking. John said women today barely cook or know how to. So a lot is being placed on cooking.
It is.
Yeah, and again, because even when you were having that conversation last week and that came up, again, for the record, cooking traditionally, that's only considered to be a female task in this country. And you go out to the rest of the world or throughout human history, men generally did the cooking, and the best cooks throughout history who are revered as very good chefs are usually men. So I don't even want to make cooking necessarily a gender specific thing. All I'm saying is that you can't have it. The perception is for a lot of women is that they want the responsibilities of the traditional, they want the privileges of the traditional relationship and none of the responsibilities. Now, for like in my house, I do the majority of the cooking because I like to cook. But my wife does, she washes the dishes after I get done cooking, or so we kind of divide up our how the tasks in our house according to who. I'm good at this, so I do this. You're good at this. You're good at that. I'm talking about the woman who's walking around, like you said a minute ago, and talking about all the things that she wants, but she ain't doing nothing unless she feels like it.
Define that, Elaine. Can we define for the men? Because I do know for a fact, I sit through here at IntellectualRadio.com. I sit through almost 99% of the shows, and one very common thread theme that goes through it. Men are feeling underappreciated. They're feeling like are having a lot of expectations, and they are not ever hearing what they receive, should get. I don't even know if they should hear, but they're not feeling that with all this demands from women, I demand that a man does this for me. I demand he better open my door. And this is all coming out on date one, $20 for my kids and this. What do they get? How do we define what our role is as a woman? So a man, even if that particular woman doesn't, and I'm not sure women are thinking this, I do know, because there are a couple shows here that women are never going to tell you what you're going to get. They're the prize. And not that a woman isn't the prize, but that's kind of it. There are women that,
I got about a 5-paragraph answer to that. So
let me get it. Let's hear it. Let me get an abbreviated 2-paragraph first.
All right. So, and you said that on post before, and the guys asked me, well, what is the guy getting? And I said, that's something that has to be that man and that woman. So that's a conversation that needs to be had about expectations. If I do this, these are my expectations. What are your expectations? And based off what he says, I need to make a decision on if I'm willing to comply with that. Or if I know he's going to want something that I know I don't naturally want to give for him, then it's a no deal for me. And the same thing with him, he has a right to object to that. Now, as for me, I am a naturally nurturing woman if I'm in a relationship with a man. So I don't mind cooking. I don't mind doing traditional gender roles. And I actually enjoy doing the traditional dinner roles. I don't mind fixing plates. I don't mind doing any of that, provided that I'm in a healthy environment that brings that out of me. Now, if I'm the one feeling unappreciated in a relationship, then I'm not doing nothing. And you finna get a bunch of lip and you finna be out the door. So and then just to take it a step further, I can talk about what I seen growing up. So what I seen growing up, my dad paid the bills. My mother did work. My dad paid all the big bills. My mother would chip in with utilities. She cooked, and she cooked from scratch, and she was a very good cook. I witnessed my dad working double shifts. My mother had cancer. She would come home from chemo and still cook my dad's dinners from scratch. Meanwhile, my dad would work a double, and I'd see him changing my mother's oil in the garage. So they had a give and take relationship where nobody was keeping tabs, and nobody felt used or unappreciated by the other person. They understood what the other person needed, and they got to know each other to where, like, my mom used to love pickles. So if my dad had got to the point where he could sense when the pickle jar was low and would pick it up on the way home from work and bring in all this stuff.
What did your mother do for him? I think we're still back to hearing a lot of what your dad did for her, but what did your mom do for him?
She was very nurturing.
What does nurturing look like?
Nurturing looks like being attentive to your guys' needs. One of the things that I know that most men don't like, they don't like if you sitting here talking to them and you're on your phone. They want your undivided attention. That's part of being nurturing and respected. They want to be first. They want to be your top priority. They want to come before your kids. And, they want to know that they're number one in your life. And they want to know that, quote unquote, if something does happen, because that's something else that I witnessed growing up. My dad was the provider at the beginning, but he got laid off twice throughout the course of my parents' marriage. And my mother picked up the slack. And my dad would always say the reason why he pampered and spoiled my mother the way he did is because when he fell on hard times, she picked it up and she never threw it in his face.
So someone asked, that's a married relationship. We're talking about a dating relationship. So how will we give those same responses to men in a dating situation? What do they get in return dating if they're opening doors, buying dates? What do you think that looks like for a man?
My thing is, I feel like marriage starts mentally before it happens on paper. I'm not one of those people that talk about husband privileges and wife privileges, because this is the regular season. Dating is the regular season. Marriage is the playoffs or the championship game. So I just don't believe in playing husband.
She said dating is a regular season, but marriage is the championship.
Yeah, so you don't make it to the championship if you suck in the regular season. And I don't get all of this husband privilege and wife privilege. The only thing that I personally perceive as husband and wife privileges is having kids together joint bank accounts, and that's pretty much it.
But there are women who do feel that
And
way.
living together.
Unfortunately,
And living together.
You wouldn't live with me and have my baby and
You
go
know
on
what?
checking accounts.
there's
we
a
were dating.
reason she's
I have-
single at this
I
age
have
I'm
never
with no children
lived
because she's
with a
waiting
man.
for the right
I have
time.
time.
never lived
I am,
with a man
I am
without
so
being married.
disappointed.
No.
You have not.
And I'm not giving you a baby either. So those are the only three things that I perceive as husband and wife.
The things that
Privileges.
should be the privileges that come with being
But
married.
people had no problem with doing that. But they got a problem with me cooking for you and fixing your plate. Or you acting like his wife. But you having sex
How do
with
you
him.
get to be his wife if you don't? But I do think that that's what's happening with women
That's
nowadays, unfortunately.
But both of you are proving my point.
What's your
Women want all the privileges of a traditional relationship and none of the responsibility. The reason why they go
we take the responsibility.
Yeah.
no.
That's
When
a
a woman goes out there and has a baby by a dude and doesn't marry him, she's doing that because that gives her access to him financially. But because they're not married, I'm not accountable to you. That's wanting the privilege and not the responsibility.
That sounds like the guy.
No, I'm talking about the woman. I'm talking about you just said a
So
minute. You just said a minute ago.
The woman is having the baby to have access to his money without having the accountability. But she's not in
These dudes are
control
paying
of him marrying her.
$120 of
If you're
child
not-
support.
Come on.
What money is she
Come
getting
on.
access to?
Come on. Wait. That's a stereotype. All right, because when I paid way more than that, and I have one child. So,
but then you probably made more too.
Obviously.
This is based off 10%.
What is that
Obviously.
stereotype?
So I'm trying to figure out how we get here again, because I thought I was agreeing with you. You
What
just
are you
said when you said the three things that you said are marriage issues: joint bank accounts, living together, and having babies. Then you said the chick out here, talking about having his baby but don't want to fix his plate, and they're talking about I ain't your wife. So I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying if the chick is going out there having the baby, that's the marriage. That's you supposed to be married you should be married when you have a baby. But if a woman is going out there and voluntarily choosing to have a baby but doesn't want to get married to the guy, she's doing that because she wants access to him financially, which is the privilege part, but she doesn't want to be accountable to him. Spouse, that's the responsibility.
I hear you. The only thing I'm confused about is a woman doesn't control marriage.
She does control marriage because guess how you control marriage? Don't have the baby until you get married. That's where I'm agreeing with you. That's where I'm agreeing with you. You said you're not going to have a baby unless you're married. So if you're a woman out there and you're having a baby before you get married, or you having a baby and you barely know the guy, and big surprise,
but
he's going to marry
most
you.
of them want you to
WandA,
marry
you got
them.
anything stronger than water for this
Right.
one? No,
Unfortunately, I think some women are using the baby to get
I
to the
thought we were in
No,
agreement. How
I'm
you?
actually agreeing with both of you.
Oh, okay. I was
I-
confused. I was like, what happened?
I agree when you said on a baby, but then she doesn't marry him. But then to
I
WandA's
agree.
point, it's not up to her if she marries him or not.
It is.
She's not turning. All these women are having babies and turning down marriage. They actually would want that man to marry them.
No.
Usually,
when
he
you
never intended
And
to.
back in the day, they did.
No.
He never intended to.
No, if you are a woman and you have a baby with a guy and you've only known him for 6
Well, it
months.
ain't about how long you've known them. That's
It
not
is.
what I'm saying.
It is.
Well, you're changing the dynamic.
No, I'm not. I'm saying you're saying that that there are a bunch of women out here who have babies who would marry the guy that they're getting pregnant by. Is that what you said?
I didn't actually say you. I'm answering to your statement that these women are having babies by somebody who they wouldn't even marry.
Correct.
And I believe that if man had asked them to marry, all these women aren't turning down marriage proposals just to have the baby and get the money.
But
if he said, "I marry you," I think more than 50 would be like, "Yay! He said he married me."
And they probably had the baby thinking that would
he
force
would
the guy's
marry,
hand.
As okay, so let's
I don't
go
think
ahead.
women. That's a man's logic.
No.
I don't think that's a woman's logic.
What I'm saying is, and I'm using the mores that she set up. The best predictor of not being a single mother is to wait until you're married to have the baby.
True.
If you have a baby before you get married and you have any scenario in your mind thinking by doing this it's going to force him to do that, that's bad logic. Let me just say to women out there, there's nothing that you can do to make a man do something else. A man is only going to do something. Women do stuff all the time and thinking to themselves, if I do this, he'll do that.
That's my point.
And men
that is how women think.
And men don't think like that. A man is going to do what he wants to do when he's ready to do it.
So, and I totally agree. That's why I'm saying that these women are having babies thinking that he will marry him.
And how many times
she's not turning down marriage proposals?
But how many times
do women? She different.
She thinks she's
how many times do women have to see that grand plan fail before they figure out?
She thinks she's different. She thinks she's gonna be the game changer.
Let me tell you, that is just crazy to me. But, how many decades do you have to see that fail? And it fails for everybody.
You haven't heard the stories. This is all new. So wait. So I still have a question.
There's
dating what men feel like they should get in return. Do you think that unfortunately there are women that haven't seen the dynamic of seeing their mother cater to a man or be in a relationship with the man, so they may not know what the man should. They've been told from their mom, get a guy and he should be doing this and this and this and this from you, but they haven't actually seen what that is they give in return. That unfortunately there are so many women have grown up in a single mom household that seeing the dynamic
unhealthy mom.
Yes, I don't want to put that out there that because you grow up with a single mom, you are destined not to know how to treat a man. Yes. And that's any unhealthy relationship going to probably lead to not
even
knowing.
If they're in a dysfunctional marriage, then
But what you're saying is that we have this whole crop of women who are growing up and they've never seen a healthy relationship, so they don't know what it looks like. They don't know how to be that healthy part in a relationship because they've never seen it. But you know what? Guess what? You can kind of figure out what's healthy.
I would say the nurturing, supportive, and dang, I lost my third thought. But I would just definitely say being nurturing, being supportive, and making them a top priority.
Yeah.
How do you know how to make a man? I'm sorry. If you haven't seen that, I don't think you know what that looks like. Somebody could tell you make him a top priority, and I am because I'm going out with him and I'm going on a date with him and I'm allowing him to go out with me.
I hear a lot of guys complaining about it. Could be something as simple as if you having one-on-one time and the woman is on the phone, or she's talking on the phone, or she's doing something else besides giving him her undivided attention.
And that
could be a sign of disrespect for some guys too.
And I would see, and this is where I would disagree with you. I think that women and men intuitively know how to make someone else put them make them number one. You see, because you see that in teenage relationships all the time. They ain't got no money, no job, no nothing, but they just love this this person, whoever they're dating,
until they put all this into one person, they break their heart, and then it's all over.
Right. But what I'm saying is that I think intuitively people know how to place someone number one. To your point, I think they get jaded by bad experiences, and then they feel like
develop a protective coding.
Right. They feel like this person, oh no, I'm not gonna get by. Every time I do give 100%, I get hurt. So I'm not gonna do that. This person has to earn this, blah, 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 blah. Oh, I got a way he can earn it. You know what? I need $20 because my kid need to go on a field trip.
We went back to the $20 holla.
Funny thing is, if you ladies claim to be doing the raising of the kids, how come you ain't watching them the way they behaving in life according how you say they should? I don't even know what that means.
He's trying to blame single women.
Single
mothers.
He's not trying to blame single women. He is making an observation.
If you ladies claim to be doing the raising of the kids, how come you ain't teaching them how they should be behaving in life?
Right. You can only blame mommy until the age of 25.
No, listen. All he's saying is, and it's a valid point. If the majority of households in our community are female-headed households, because we have a lower percentage of marriage, we have a higher percentage of out-of-wedlock births disproportionately. So if the majority of the households in our community are female-headed households, but we keep turning out all these people who are damaged and unhealthy and don't know how to be, don't know how to be in healthy relationships, what does that say about where they're getting their instruction?
That we need more men in these children's lives. I mean, that doesn't
voluntarily.
Unfortunately, that doesn't mean that the women aren't I don't even get why that statement to me doesn't even fit in what we were talking about right now. I thought we were talking about
Well, we were talking
saying about teaching their kids.
But we were talking about people being unhealthy and being in unhealthy relationships, and so he was trying to draw some connection. He was trying to pull it all together.
If you think about it, some people are damaged before they even start dating. So they may have seen their parent going through a lot of bad relationships or bad marriages.
Yeah, if you are unhealthy,
and they developed
that's
that
what
sense
I mean. That
of
when I
protective coding just from watching that.
Right, it doesn't have to be from your first dating experience. I don't believe there are a lot of teenagers now this innocent view of love and then getting jaded. I think they don't see an innocent view of love because they've never seen love in a healthy way ever. Anyway, I do think there are a group of women and men. But I'm just speaking from the women because at this point we're talking about how do they know how to nurture, how to give, how to show a man their side of this that they may not have ever seen it done, and maybe at a letting society, I guess, maybe tell them how they should treat a man. Or I do think there are many women who just can't even answer this question, like what are the roles of a woman when you're dating? What are your roles other than being a woman?
Now, and I'm speaking from the standpoint of not growing up in a two-parent household at this point. Had I not grown up in a two-parent household and I just seen the general messages that's pushed out here to women, in order to get a man to marry you, all you have to do is have sex, cook for him, and shut up.
That's usually what they say.
Those are the top 3 instructions. Cook, shut up, and have sex.
Those are the top 3 for unhealthy, immature men.
And that's all the messages that women are seeing. So if you're a woman who have never seen a healthy relationship, and then you see on TV, you see on social media, you see in books, you see everywhere, all you got to do is have sex and shut up and cook for him, and that's how you get a husband.
Well, again, I think the difference in how, and I think we've said it a couple of times here, is that when we're trying to define what a woman's contribution is supposed to be in a traditional relationship, it's this difficult thing to figure out, because in this relationship, Valencia said it earlier, and I've said this before, like what works in your relationship is going to be different in mine, it's going to be different in yours. But when you're trying to define what the women's role is supposed to be, it's this amorphous, intangible thing that's so difficult to quantify. But no matter the man, money. The man is always money. It don't matter if he got a lot of money or a little bit of money. All women can agree pretty much that the man's contribution is financial. And if we can boil down the man's contribution so concretely and we can quantify it so easily, I don't understand why it becomes this long.
I know why.
I don't understand why it becomes this long, winding road.
Because go ahead, Elaine, and I'll add.
Because men are looked at as providers and women are looked at as nurturers. And nurturing looks different to different people. But
that doesn't have a value to some people. Some
people
don't really see that as being a value.
And I'm starting to hear men hear men say, "Oh, well, I already cook, so what I need a woman for?"
Yeah, but the men the men who are out there cooking, for the most part, the men out there who cook had to learn how to cook because wasn't no woman around who could cook.
Or he grew up with a single mother who wanted to make sure that he knew how to cook because it's a survival skill.
Still goes, but
not a gender role.
But you're still going back to your nexus is still, or the genesis of your example is still a woman who didn't have a man or whatever. So again, my point is again, if we're going to agree that there are gender roles and that the gender role for all men is provision, then we should have some gender roles for women, but we don't.
But I think we do. I did think we do, and that's why being traditional makes a difference, and going with gender roles is
'Cause everybody
important,
know they
because then
lane.
that does give you what our roles are. If we stuck to what the gender roles were, it would be more defined,
Homemaker,
because they don't care about
caregiver.
nurturing. Nurturing you doesn't mean, even though my mother and what I saw, what my mother raised me to also, and this, I know I'm gonna get flack for this because I do every time I say it,
Uh-oh.
but I'm gonna put it out there. My mother raised me to actually take care of a man, at the same time learning them, but to actually, part of my role as being a woman was a certain group of things. And it really, I know women hate when I say this because it sounds
I
like,
got a
oh,
question for you, Wanda.
yes.
How did your mother raise you to take care of a man? Did she give you like instruction, or did you just observe it?
My
on
mother
your
was
own?
serious
Or
about
was
it.
you
It really
visual
sounds crazy, and I'm
learner
only
with it?
realizing this as I do these shows. But my
Because
mom,
I never thought about that question until you just said that. Like, do our parents really teach us that, or do we just observe their relationships?
my
of
mother
what to
was
do?
serious about, these are things a woman does.
Okay.
The woman makes sure she keeps a handkerchief in her purse. She makes sure she has this. She makes sure she had. My mother was serious about this, and I never thought of it that way. That she was preparing me. She didn't say that particularly, I'm preparing you. But now that I look back on how important this stuff was for her, is to be soft, be gentle. When I got married, she said, wear dresses around the house. Don't look frumpy when he comes home. Make sure you say this to him. Tell him this. My mother was like really on the.
Can I make a point?
Yes.
Because what you're saying is so deep. But the distinction that I'm making in my head as I'm hearing you speak is that your mother didn't teach you how to be a woman. Your mother was teaching you how to be a lady.
Absolutely.
And
being a lady was important to my mother.
And let me just say, as an African American man, and I'm talking about sisters right now, there are a lot of grown women out here who are not ladies.
And I do,
And that goes back to where this whole conversation started about the dude and the $20. A lot of times men behave the way that they do because they're dealing with a woman who's not a lady.
Okay, that's a fact.
I have to agree with that.
I have to agree, and that's a point. But and they have to know when
We
they
agreed at the end of the show.
we
finally got one.
And the guys look for ladies.
The thing is, women,
maybe
men do still want very feminine women.
They do,
but I think the issue behind that is, I feel like a woman has to be in a certain environment in order for her to bring her femininity.
But then we got to stop that. We got to stop allowing someone else the way they act and treat us to make us be ladies. I'm a lady 24/7. I don't need you to treat me.
I got on a dress.
Yes, but men are wearing dresses nowadays. But I do believe it shouldn't be in return for how you treat me. I'm going to be a lady all day. Now, will I make sure I get the right guy to do extra? But I'm always a lady. And I think being a lady, but now we are saying, unless you bring this to the table, going to bring this out of me. Be that way. Be for whoever.
I think the thing too is femininity is associated with vulnerability.
And we're afraid to be vulnerable.
And a woman is not going to be vulnerable around a man who she doesn't feel provided for, secure around, or protected.
So make better choices.
Exactly. Because
and that's the thing too.
Because you can be a lady and still be a dummy and still make bad choices. If you're a lady and you wind up with a man who doesn't accentuate or create an environment that perpetuates that
you're not with the right person,
then that's really on you. That's you making bad choices. You can't you can't, to Wanda's point, I think it's unfair to put the onus on the man and say that my femininity and how much of a lady I am is a function of how you treat me. No, how feminine you are and how much of a lady you are should be attracting the type of man that you want. And if you find yourself that you're always attracting the type of man who's not treating you the way that you want to be treated, you probably need to reevaluate what you're putting out there and what type of man that's attracting, and modify that so you're going to attract the type of man you do want.
I like what you said earlier when you said, because it worked on the flip side too. Different women bring out different results in a man. And the same thing is
I
true.
know.
Different men bring out different results in a woman.
And that's it. Thank you guys for tuning in. I have to wrap. I'm going over time here. You've been listening to Stop Shaking Your Head, super producer Earl Winfrey. Thank you very much for giving us this platform and allowing this. I know I'm going over time. We can continue talking about this as we normally do on Facebook. Join my group, He Said, She Said. If you need insurance, go to Sal. Tell Sal I sent you. 708-599-5100. I stand behind them. They're good people. You're in good hands with Allstate. And make sure you go to the Buzzing Off Awards, and it's going to be a fun night and see some of our community leaders get rewarded. And you're listening to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. I appreciate you all who chime in on Facebook and help make the show. Thank you, John. Thank you, Valencia. See you next week, 2 p.m. He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is your girlfriend, your buddy, your pal, Latonya of Industry Buzz with 3Zs.com, coming to give a personal invitation to my Intellectual Radio family. Join us at this year's 8th annual Buzzing Off Awards, celebrating our community leaders. It is going down Saturday, September the 8th. Saturday, September the 8th. Saturday, September the 8th. Get your tickets today right now on BuzzingOffAwards.com. That's www.BUZZINOFF Awards.com. See you there.
She's a real deal, keeping it real for real. Really real with WandA. All inclusive, no confusion. But he said, she said, clearing up the drama.